All right, here we are. I'm going to zoom in and then I'm going to zoom in again. Yeah. I added some significant parts like that is new. I shaded in this area right in there as I said I was going to. This part has been updated, so as that. I'll put a little line there and then an extended line there. Let's see, what else did I do? Put a heavier line under there. This is new, and I darkened this area in because, as I said, I wasn't liking it last time. I wanted it to balance between here and here. This area right up in here is rather dark. I touched this up a bit, and I also added a little darker line underneath the lighter line there. Yeah, so I did quite a lot of work actually in the interim between the previous video and this one. Now here's a question that I'm asking myself, and that is, what do I do now? Do I do something in the background here? Do I leave it alone? And, well, there's a part of me that says, hey, let's just leave it. Let's call it a day. But something tells me that I should take a leap, ski down that mountain, even though it's icy. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to zoom out a bit so you can see how, in fact, I am going to do that. I've committed here. So what's the problem, you might ask? Eric, you've done all this so far, so what's the problem? Well, there isn't a problem yet. See, that's the thing. It's not a problem yet. It's problem free. This thing is ready to go. I'm ready to sign off on it. Call it a day. Or I can make some marks and screw it all up. What to do? Well, I tell you, I was practicing on a piece of paper over here, some potential marks. Like, for example, I would do something like that, right? And where would it go? Something like that, something like that. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And maybe I won't use this as much, I'm not sure. This gets in the way sometimes. I'm not supposed to touch this paper, but if I'm quick enough, I can do it. Now remember, when I first started this, just put a bunch of lines everywhere, and then this is what it's become. So I'm going to do the same kind of thing. Yep, here we go. Not too shabby. I kind of like it. Don't have much of a choice. I kind of like it. So, here we go. I'm just going to dig in. Right. I actually enjoy this part when I have a line down and I know what it is I'm going to do. It just makes everything so much easier for me. And quite often I'll tell myself that next time I draw, I'm just going to put lines down so I don't have to worry about it. I mean, key lines or guidelines or whatever you want to call this type of thing. Because what you've just seen was me being nervous about messing up a piece. And every time, nearly, I can't say every time, but nearly every time, it works out. So I don't know why I'm getting nervous about it. It always seems to work out. And as is the case here, all I have to do now is just do this easy thing where I don't really have to think about where it's going to go so much. A little bit, of course. There's decisions to be made. There are decisions to be made right now. I'm making decisions, of course, but not critical, not so critical. And I can see what's going to happen a little clearer. Now, what I don't want to do too much is give this a lot of detail or thickness. So I got to be careful, because once I give it whatever I'm going to give it, it's going to stay. It doesn't go away. I honestly don't know how people do tattoos. I don't know how they get them. I don't know how they give them. I get nervous just drawing on a white piece of paper. Tattoos can be really beautiful. I've seen some amazing tattoos. And I try not to have an opinion one way or the other about somebody's choices there. But yeah, except for that I just don't know how they don't get super nervous. The tattoo artist mainly, really, because the other person, I suspect, is just very trusting. So there's that aspect. Just the trust. And I guess it goes that way as well for the artist. They trust their ability. And also it could just be that it's something within me. This nervousness. Of course, everyone has their own take on it. Nobody thinks as I do, and I don't think as anybody. So we're all unique in that way. We're all unique in every way. You can't have a heavy hand here. No heavy hands. Not here. It's not permitted. We don't allow that. What do you mean by a heavy hand? Well, what I mean by a heavy hand is just pushing the pin down with more force than is necessary, because I'm impatient. That's really it, right? I mean, just being impatient. Because it's not so hard. It's not hard at all to lightly put a pen down on paper. Now, some people have a shaky hand, and so it might be a little more difficult, but just holding the pen to the paper, really. It's not so difficult, relatively speaking. All right, I think that's good enough for that area. And up here, I'm going to add a little ridge, like so. Why did I decide to do that? I don't know. It just felt like I needed it. I want to answer or shine light on reasons why I choose what I do, and often I will not be able to. I want to, though. I felt like it needed something up there because it felt a little light, a little too light. But I want to keep this whole piece, or this area, what I'm doing now, light anyway, so it's kind of tricky. And I see what I have to do now, because this is a little too heavy in contrast with this previous, this area here that I had drawn previously. So I'm going to fill that in. I wasn't planning on it, but it needs it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Not bad. Not too bad, not too bad. Even though I said not too bad, I'm continuing to work on it. I will work on it until I feel like it's right. How do I know it's right? How do I know? Well, I decide, really. That's it. Something in my brain says, yeah, that works. You can stop. And that becomes faster with experience, because you have done this pen stroke before countless times. Always a little different, but you can kind of forecast what's going to happen when you lay it down, because you've done it. You've repeated this action. But yeah, this is the first time I've ever drawn this piece, and the last. It's never going to be drawn again. Better make it good. All right. Not quite there. I'm going to still mess about with it. Muck about. Muck. Muck. That word's interesting. Yeah. Really? No, not quite. Not quite. A little bit more. A little So it's starting to get a little warm in Tokyo. And I have an air conditioning unit in the other room. But I closed the door here in this room so that I can keep it a bit quiet. My wife is in the other room doing her thing. So when it gets warmer, I'm going to have to figure out a solution to all that. One day, I'd like to have a place where I just go and do this. My studio away from my home, not in my home. Right? This is my studio in my home. It's nice to have it. I can just wake up and come here and start working. It's nice. But it's in my home. The idea of having a place that it's dedicated completely to art is a nice idea. In the meantime, I have a nice little studio here, so it's okay. But noise factors and space, very small. Tokyo is notoriously starved for space. The people of Tokyo are starved for space. How do I feel about that now? Yeah? There's a little bit of a... Oh yeah. That's what I wanted to do. And I also want to give it a little bit of some shading in there. So I will. Now, how am I going to shade this, you see? So am I going to go like that, or like that? How about all three? Yeah, how about that? No heavy hand. That is not what we'll do. One thing I haven't mentioned yet, and I think it's time to do so, is that when you draw the pen stroke, now I am going to assume this is the case for everybody, because I don't know how it works with you. But it works this way with me, and I'd imagine it to the physics of it. It'll work this way with you as well. And that is, it's darker at the beginning of the stroke than at the end. So this is a perfect example. Up here it's darker, here it's lighter. I'm laying it down here, and I'm going very quickly but lightly downward. So now, what I'm going to do is turn it around, you see, and then do the same thing. And it'll be darker here. Yeah. Now you might do it completely differently. I'm not sure. But again, I think that just the way the physics are, or the physics is in this case, of how the pen goes and touches the paper, it just seems like it would work this way with everyone. notice it. That's what I recommend. When you're drawing your line, just notice how it works. Is it going to be darker on one end than the other? Is it going to be even across the board, or is it going to be darker at the bottom at the end of the stroke instead of at the beginning? What's happening? Yeah. Now I'm doing some cross hatching. Every stroke is a hatch, but I'm going across the strokes that I just made, so it's cross hatch. And then I'll do it again in this fashion. Right here. Yeah, and actually I need to worry about this area right here. And I'm doing the tap, tap, tap thing where I'm trying to pick up the lines or the white of the paper that comes through the semi-opaque, semi-transparent, translucent areas here. That's why we're layering it. Oop. Okay. Oh yeah, I was going to go in this direction. I haven't gone yet. Yeah, so this tone matches this, and I'm going to go away from it for a while because I just need a break from this area. But I think that looks pretty good, actually. Now I'm going to go over here and mess about with this. So you see what I'm going to do is leave this fairly open like that, and leave the same thing here. I'm not going to darken it in like I did here. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. I hope. Well, what do I know? I mean that. I don't know what I'm gonna do here. Actually, I'm a little less prepared to work on this area than I was on there. That's why I started there. So what do we do then? I don't know. I think I'm gonna do that. That's what I think I want to do. And I think that's what happened. Ah, okay. I see. Yeah, I needed that. When in doubt, make a squiggle. I want to balance the weight of both of these. Because this is supposed to be like set behind this figure. So I haven't decided what it is. It's looking like an animal to me the whole time from the start. After I laid down the initial lines, I thought, hey, that looks like an animal. I said as much. So I kind of went with it in that way, but didn't do. If I hadn't looked at it as an animal or seen it as an animal, then I suspect I would have. Well, what do I know? What happened. But I don't think the animal image that I had in my head, my eyes, I don't think that has anything to do with why I shaded it the way I did. It looked like some mass of something here, and so I filled it in accordingly. But as I've said a few times here, I don't know why I do what I do, and you don't know why you do what you do either. What do you mean? And of course I know why I do what I do. To some extent, yes, but ultimately, you're along for the ride. Because you don't know why you're here. You don't know why you think the way you do. Just, you do. It's just who you are. But it's fun to observe how this thing comes to be, decisions I make. You can look at yourself and see what you're doing. As you're doing it, even. Okay. Like now. I don't know how this is going to look. Now I do. I've experienced this idea of watching things come to be in real time with other mediums as well, like, for example, writing a character in a story. I've written a few short stories, so you just start writing. Don't really know what's going to come of it, but then something does. There it is. There's the character. After writing words and ideas about what this character is doing. And with music as well. All right, so we have this, like, it looks like a little bean, eh? It's like a bean. This animal is thinking about eating the bean, right? That's the only story that I see. That's not true. All right. Yeah, and I did put this line here for a reason, and that is because I wanted to fill this in to give it a little bit of weight. Like this has some weight over here, you see. So I wanted to balance it. I don't think I'm going to touch anything up here, just like the lines on the other side are not touched in similar fashion. This, I believe, is where the balance comes in. And this is why a piece of mine, or other people's as well, but I can only speak for myself here. A piece of mine has a continuity within the piece itself, is that I am concerned with certain elements that I retain, or the image retains, and I propagate somewhat throughout the piece. But just as I'm not trying to be heavy-handed with laying down the ink itself, the motifs or whatever similarities of elements within the piece also are laid down somewhat sporadically, perhaps. See how it is? So there's a heaviness here that's still not here, so I will fill in this area right in here to match that, you see. I think this area is a little heavier, but overall this is larger, and this line right here is thick, whereas this one is rather delicate. So I have to contend with that somehow. Perhaps there's something I can... Yeah, I see. I see what I'm going to do now. But before I mess with that, I have to finish up this area here, which I haven't finished up yet. I'm on my way. And then this piece will be done. And I can get on the next one. I'm going to devote some videos here very soon, maybe even next. Haven't decided yet, but... And to just putting swirls down on the paper, or some type of shape. Warm up, if you will. Yeah. I like the warm-ups. They're really fun. Or they're very relaxing, I should say. It's the opposite of fun, just relaxing. Can relaxing be fun? I don't know. Doesn't matter. The best way to describe the feeling I have when I'm putting down just shapes similar to like here is it's just relaxing. If you're on the telephone and you have a piece of paper in front of you and you just start doing squiggles, people call that a doodle. That's the feeling. It's mindless. Mindless. And I can talk and form sentences and make thoughts while I'm doing this, so in a way, I can do this without too much concentration. However, I do pause in my wordings, in my speech patterns here, because I'm not able to talk and chew gum as eloquently as I'd like, or as effectively. The chewing gum is a metaphor for drawing, but you knew that. I'm going to go back over here because there's something that was bothering me, and I knew it was bothering me, but I had to step away for a while because I was feeling like I was going to overwork it. But now that I've had a chance to work on the other side, and I can come back and work on this one while I'm thinking about what to do with the other side. So what was it that bothered me? It's I don't know if I want it to not touch this line. In fact, I think I want it to touch this line, but not this line here, no, but this line here, yes. It's the thought that occupies my mind while I'm drawing this. And I think that was the right decision. But doesn't matter, does it? Because it's been done. I sure hope I like what decisions I make. Yeah, I think this is looking better. It's a constant upgrade. The drawings. When you're working on these things, just it's like, all right, I'm going to keep going because it's not quite where I want it to be. I'm dissatisfied, so I want to be satisfied. So I'm just going to keep going until I am. That's the process. Yeah, that looks better. When I look at it through the camera here, I can see something that I didn't see, oddly. Usually it's the other way around. I can see more in the physical world here. Now what I'm doing is just trying to even it out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I wonder if that's done or not over there on that side. Not sure. It seems like it needs something, but I'm not quite sure what. I don't think this line is so great here, but I don't really want to mess with it. But I'm going to. Yeah, that was good. That's all I'm going to do on that one. Still have a little bit of fiddle screwing to do here. Yeah. Yeah, this is okay. That all too familiar feeling of what do I do to just put the finishing touch on these things. The all too familiar feeling. Yeah. Now, let me show you here. This is doing a swoop up and this is doing a swoop down. So I'm going to fix that. When I say fix, I mean make myself happier here. Now remember, I said that you start darker and it gets lighter, so if that is the case, and I just remembered that is the case, with me in my hand, then I'll go this way. So something like so. Yeah. And then I'm going to swoop back. like so. Okay. And give it another one of those treatments that I was doing down below. I kind of like that little extra line there. It's kind of nice. Now that mimics the lines, the line work here somewhat mimics the line work there, which isn't too bad. Yeah, but it's not great. It may be better to fill it in. We will see. Okay. Now I have this other thing down here, which I have a desire to fill this in, but I know if I do, it's going to create problems over here. Because you see, let me zoom out a little bit here so you can see what's happening. This needs some roundedness going on there that this has. This is too sharp. And it needs some, it's just, this up in here will help to counter the weight, but it's not quite right, is it? So I have to figure out what I want to do. Yeah. All right. Huh. Well, I wonder. Yep, this is fine for now. I'm going to have to sit on it. It's not bad, but it definitely adds a whole new level of work. I thought I was closer to being done, but now I realize that maybe this really does need to go very dark to pull this out. So I might have to do some off-camera work because I don't know. I can't think about now what I want to do with it. All right, good enough, man. This is a fine session, and I'm gonna call it done. Yeah. Until next time. Out.